It's Sally Steele, and welcome to my show. My backstage photos and stories with Kiss just recently went viral, so now I am going to tell you my fabulous story of my exciting night with Ritchie Blackmore and Deep Purple from the 70s. It was in December of 1974 or 75, and I was 14, and I was madly in love with Ritchie Blackmore. I spent months getting myself all primped up with what I was going to wear with my long white gown and my white nail polish and my silver glitter platform shoes, and I was going to meet Ritchie Blackmore. The show was at the Market Square Arena downtown Indianapolis. And I didn't drive back then and I didn't have my learner's permit because I was only 14, but I put on my long white gown and it was really cold that day. So I put on my winter coat and I pulled my gown up and hiked it up and put my winter coat around it so it didn't look like I was going to a ball in the middle of the day. So I got on the bus and I did a couple transfers and I finally got downtown. And it was cold and I was really scared. I mean, what's going to happen here? I want to meet Ritchie Blackmore. And I was scared, but I was like nervous with a little bit of excitement. And I started walking in to the back entrance of the Market Square Arena downtown. And I must have been a sight for sore eyes for that road crew. Here comes this young girl all in white, decked out. And there was this one roadie named Skip. I'll never forget. And he kind of pulled me into like one of the little rooms and he wanted some action, and I was just no, I wasn't going to do anything. And I remember he just, come on, just a little kiss, and I had some Kleenex and I just blotted my lipstick and just put it on his lips, and I walked out, and he came out and everybody was looking like there was something that happened back there, but I didn't do anything. I met John Lord and he gave me an autograph and he posed for a picture and he was really nice. And then I met Glennhughes and he looked a little stoned. He even saw the picture years later. He goes, "Yeah, I look stoned." But I didn't understand all that stuff back then. But he was really nice and he posed for a picture for me and gave me an autograph. But there was only one man I was looking for, and that was Ritchie Blackmore. I remember seeing Ritchie walk in, and he just went straight to his dressing room, and I was kind of standing over on the side. And I think eventually I just kind of opened the door and went in his dressing room. But there were two other girls there, so I had competition. And I remember they were sitting there, and one of them had a wig on, and Ritchie like pulled her wig down because her real hair was showing. And but I'm glad they were there because Ritchie was giving me an autograph, and she took my camera without me asking, and just when Ritchie leaned in to give me his autograph, he leaned in for the picture, and she took the picture. And Ritchie was really taken with me. And after a while, he told everybody just to leave the room except for me. And we were talking, and I was taking pictures. And he had a roadie who I think his name was Ian. And Ritchie told me that he had really strong telepathy with Ian. So Ritchie got a deck of cards and told me, pick out a card, but don't say anything. So I picked out a card, and Ritchie started concentrating. And Ian was on the other side of the door. And believe it or not, Ian actually guessed the card on the other side of the door. So I don't know, Ritchie has some great form of telepathy, wouldn't you know? And after a while, Ritchie told his road crew, "I want a chair for Sally on the side right by me on stage for the rest of the night." So this was really exciting. I mean, I was on stage with Ritchie Blackmore on the side of the stage where all the kids in high school could see me that hated my guts and, thought I was nuts with my rock music and everything. And it was exciting. I mean, I was the queen of Deep Purple and I was Ritchie's girl. I was so excited. I think I was being a little bit of a brat too, because I think I left my purse on the other side of the stage, and they said, "You can't go over there." I go, "But I need my purse." And I kept telling them, and these guys are just trying to do their jobs. And they picked up my big shag purse and they just threw it across the stage, and it hit me in my face. I mean, I was okay, but these guys are just trying to do their jobs. I mean, they got Deep Purple running a show, and that was the debut tour of David Coverdale for the Burn album. And I really wasn't paying much attention to David Coverdale, but I think I got a few photos of him in the background on stage. I took about 200 pictures that night, but unfortunately, the man that was renting a room from my mother's house was selling all my pictures and record albums and everything, and I didn't know about it. But the one photo album that he didn't steal had my favorite on stage and backstage pictures in it, so at least I have some of those left. So Richie said, "Meet me at the Stover's Hotel in whatever room it was." And I said, "Okay." But I didn't know what to do because I had snuck out of the house and I had to be back at my house before my grandfather picked me up for school the next day. And the last bus line was at 11 p.m. But I think too, I was a little scared. I mean, after all of that, I was a virgin, and I think that Richie thought that I was a lot older than I was. I looked older, even though I was 14. But I just didn't go there because back then it was different. There was no transportation and Ubers and cell phones and lack of communication. And I was just happy that I got all my pictures. So I just kind of got on the bus downtown at the Circle and got back home before the morning. So the next day at school, I went to the payphone across from the cafeteria. And I called Richie's room, and Richie answered. And as soon as he heard it was me, he hung up. He was pissed. I mean, I don't blame him. I mean, he did all these nice things for me, and I flake out. I mean, I stood up Ritchie Blackmore. Who does that kind of thing? Crazy Sally Steele, that's who. I mean, I just wanted to meet these guys and get some pictures. I wasn't really looking to sleep with any of these guys. But I'm not proud of it. But, things were different back then. There was no communication, there were no cell phones, no Uber, and I was just some crazy kid running around all night on the bus. And here's my souvenirs for that night, among other things. And John Lord's autograph, Ritchie Blackmore's autograph to Sally with the little X's and O's. And Glennhughes says hello. And my Deep Purple backstage pass for that night, 12/2, I don't know what year. And then that is a Deep Purple sticker. I'm not sure who gave it to me, but yeah, I've kept this all these years. But I probably should have made Ritchie my first, because the idiot that I ended up with, I had to move to Florida just to get away from. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed my little story of my backstage and pictures of Ritchie on stage and Deep Purple story. I have a lot more stories with Black Sabbath, Rush, Aerosmith, and so many other artists from back then before they were famous and just making it. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss them. So thank you for tuning in, and we will see you next time on the Sally Steele Rock Show.